Did Ready or Not, Here I Come live up to fan expectations? Let's do a spoiler-free, no-hype review. What's up, cretins? What's up, creeps? My name is Chris. I am the only person talking horror on the internet. Hit the sub, help me get to 5K before my 2-year anniversary this June. Ready or Not, Here I Come follows our favorite blood-drenched bride immediately following the events of the original film. We find out that her former family-in-law held the high chair in the satanic society that they belong to. As they are no more, that chair is now open, and the bounty on Grace's head is that very position. She and her sister Faith must either survive or succumb. There's your movie. Alright, let's bring this up so we can break this down. Returning directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette of the Radio Silence team do a great job of not only re-immersing us in the Ready or Not universe, but they also justify that re-immersion. I know we're all cool with dipping back into it, but I don't think that any of us really needed this universe to be further expanded or explained, especially near 7 years after we've dipped out of it. Where they go from there is a mixed bag, delivering a funny, action-filled ride with missteps that really only occur to you when you look at this as anything more than a good time. 12 out of 15. I will watch anything with Samara Weaving. She's got the energy and the presence and debatably the most iconic scream in modern horror. She obviously can carry the film on her own. She did so in the first one. But she's joined by Kathryn Newton as she figuratively and literally slips back into her now iconic wedding gown without a hitch. Newton does fine as her sister, but I feel like her character wasn't as fleshed out as it should have been, and she doesn't carry a satisfying arc. Not her fault. As for the remainder of the cast, which includes Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean Hattasey, Kevin Durand, Nestor Carbonell, and horror legend David Cronenberg in an acting role, everybody was perfectly cast. Elijah Wood is the standout of the new characters in this universe, and I'm so glad that he has been brought into the Radio Silence fold, as you can see that he's going to be working with them a lot more going forward. 13 out of 15. The screenplay delivers, mostly. I think totally they nailed what they were supposed to do. This does feel like an immediate continuation, and it does feel like the logical evolution. Solid dialogue, several scenes that had me literally laughing out loud, and a couple of times where I wanted to stand up and cheer but didn't want to look like a fucking idiot. Objectively, this was everything that I wanted as a fan. But if you're asking me to critically evaluate it, not as strong. I don't think that the interstitials where we watch Grace and Faith reconnect exactly work. They go into and out of reconciliation every 10 minutes. And not like in a funny way, in a sloppy, I forgot where they were way. They speak too loudly with too much comfortability in too public of places, and no one ever thinks to suggest to the other that this will all be over in a matter of hours and we can resolve our differences then. Faith goes from denial of the situation to strategically playing into the situation to making jokes about the situation and saying, let's do shots together in the span of like 7 minutes of screen time. Also, one of my favorite things about the original was the underlying message of Grace not needing a man to define her or provide for her. By the end of the movie, she survived, she found her strength, she overcame. Here, that fuck you, try me attitude that she left us with is back at, it's not like square one, but like square 3? I don't know how many squares it is to complete. Telling us that there's no real growth in her. It was just a moment of strength. She should have come back like Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 and had Faith handling being confused or scared or spent or whatever. Don't get me wrong, it's good, it's entertaining, but when you start asking why, it's not as strong as it could have, or I'd argue, should have been. It's maybe like a critical 8, but feels like it's an audience 12, so let's call it a 10 out of 15. Fair? Cool. This is not a scary movie, but it's trying harder to make you piss your pants out of laughter than out of fright. There's mild suspense, honestly less than the original. Some evil themes and buckets upon buckets of the red stuff, so I can maybe get to a 2 out of 10. I thought that there was a solid aesthetic to Ready or Not, Here I Come. Even though it does look like the bigger budget studio film that it is, the directors maintain a level of confinement within their space while conveying a limited open world atmosphere. Plus, character designs were all unique and refined. 7 out of 10. Story like screenplay, and they are different, started stronger than it left us. I fully bought into the reasons why we were continuing this story that didn't need to be continued, and I was happy to step back into this world and stay a while. But one of the most interesting mechanics that they introduce is that the 5 families will be hunters, 1 person per family. If a hunter is offed, they are replaced by their next of kin. And I don't feel that that concept is ever fully explored, or at least not to its full potential. I know when we met all of these characters, the one that I wanted to see hunting more than anybody else never does. The hunters are also interesting and diverse, and where we could have kept the viewer in suspense as to where all of this goes, the filmmaker's favor is fairly obvious from the beginning. There is a finale that you will not see coming, but I don't think that that finale was justified or earned based upon what was already established. I sat there saying, why would you? The story would have been acceptable had this been rushed into production and came out a year after the original. And again, I had a blast, but for 7 years, this should have been more concise and a full exploration of all possibilities. 6 out of 10. The kills were not only plentiful, they were far more varied than I had expected. Whether you want something bloody or gross or funny or just absolute anarchy, they have something to satisfy you. You do have to knock it back a smidge for some CGI, but it is still an 8 out of 10. Obviously, the biggest obstacle that any sequel is going to face is standing on its own without reliance on the viewer's knowledge of the existing lore. And I think that you could approach Here I Come with no knowledge of Ready or Not and walk away with 0 questions about it, but also have an absolute want for the original. I do wish there was a little less redundancy in that the same game is being played, but it's good enough for a 3 out of 5. Not only was Here I Come good enough for a rewatch, it honestly gave me a greater appreciation for the original. I look forward to watching them back to back, probably a few times over, when I inevitably add Here I Come to my collection. 4 out of 5. I had a fun time with Ready or Not, Here I Come. I don't think that you can have a bad time with Ready or Not, Here I Come. This is pure entertainment and it exceeds expectations on that level. 5 out of 5 for enjoyment. So overall, these add up to a possible 100 points, and when I chainsaw this off, your Massa score for Ready or Not, Here I Come is 70 out of 100. It may be best if you don't ask questions and just play along, but either way, this game is worth playing. I'm full on ready to meet third sister Hope in the inevitable 3rd installment. Kindred Spirits, Ready or Not, duh. The Babysitter, Final Destination Bloodlines. That's all I got for you, cretins. That's gonna do it for today, creeps. Do all these things. Let me know if you saw Ready or Not, Here I Come, and what you thought of it right over here. And as always, this is all just a matter of opinion. See it yourself, make your own decisions, remain critical, support horror.